County Republican Women's Club 4th Televised Forum of 2014. I'm Roseanne Hall, CCRWC President-elect. This is the 4th in a series of 5 forums. Tonight's forum will be for candidates for Cobb Superior Court Judge, candidates for Georgia House District 34 and 44, and candidates for Cobb County Solicitor General. Please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The Cobb County Republican Women's Club was organized 50 years ago and is the largest Republican women's organization in Georgia. We are a member of the Georgia Federation of Republican Women and the National Federation of Republican Women. CCRWC provides an excellent opportunity to network with elected officials and feel more connected to the political education on issues and candidates. It also provides a vehicle to get involved in candidate campaigns through volunteering. Through CCRWC, you become an informed voter, having input into the political process and influencing decisions that open the door to good government. We invite you to become a member and join us for lunch. We meet the 4th Friday of the month at the Atlanta Marietta Hilton Conference Center. Women and men are welcome to join our organization. For more information about our organization, visit the Cobb County Republican Women's Club website at www.ccrwc.org. I would like to speak to you this evening on the importance of voting. The right to vote is a privilege, but first you must be registered. April 21st is the last day to register and be eligible to vote in the general election on May 20th and in the runoff on July 22nd. If you have any questions about your registration, voting absentee, or early voting, call the Cobb County Elections and Registration Office at 770-528-2581 or visit the website at www.cobbelections.org. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this evening's forum, Donna Rowe. Donna Rowe was a past president of the Cobb Association of Realtors, past president of the Cobb County Republican Women's Club, and is presently director of the Georgia Vietnam Veterans Alliance. She was a captain in the Army, Nurse Corps, and in the Vietnam War. Her story is featured in the award-winning film In the Shadow of the Blade, and in 2 books on the Vietnam War. She's a national speaker on the Vietnam War and the men and women who served during this war. Appointed member of the Cobb County Development Authority, she serves there today, and is presently a real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Marietta. Donna?
I first want to start off, I'm going to jump off script a little bit, but I do want to thank the Republican women for asking me to moderate this tonight. And it's my honor to be up here with a great panel. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the invitation to be your moderator for tonight. As Roseanne just mentioned, this is our 4th televised Republican Forum in a series of 5 sponsored by the Cobb County Republican Women's Club. Tonight's forum will be for candidates for the Cobb County Superior Court Judge, filling the seat of retiring Judge James Boniford, Georgia House District 34 and 44, and finally the Cobb County Solicitor General. We want to sincerely thank TV 23 staff for their assistance in broadcasting this forum tonight, the candidates for participating in this event, and to the viewing audience and those at home for being with us this evening. This is a live broadcast. We ask the audience to please turn off your cell phones, pagers, or other electronic devices to lessen distraction and noise. Also, please refrain from applauding until the end of the forum time is to accommodate time restraints. Now, it's my honor to introduce three wonderful panelists this evening, of which two are very dear friends. First, Felicity Diamond. Mrs. Diamond holds a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Mississippi in Health Information Management. She has worked as a health data analyst with the CDC and then has as a health information manager for hospitals in Atlanta and in Florida. She is currently a licensed realtor and property manager. She is married to Jeff Diamond and has two grown daughters. Mrs. Diamond is past president and member of Cobb County Republican Women's Club and the Republican Jewish Coalition. She volunteers with several military charities, including her favorite, United Military Care. Our second panelist and good friend, Commissioner Bob Ott. He works in his daytime job for Delta Airlines as an international and domestic pilot. He's also the president and owner of DBO Software. Mr. Ott has served in the United States Air Force and as a 7th and 8th grade science teacher. His public service activities include serving on the Cobb County Planning Commission, the Board of Zoning of Appeals, Board of Trustees for Friends of the East Cobb Park, as president of the East Cobb Civic Association, Terrell Mill Homeowners Association, Transportation Splot Oversight Committee, Neighborhood Safety Commission, Vinings Corridor Study, Blueprint Cumberland and Powers Ferry Corridor Study. Commissioner Ott holds a bachelor's degree in biology from Bucknell University and a master's degree in systems management from the University of Southern California. He is married with two children and is a member of Mount Bethel Methodist Church. Our third and final finalist is Tori White. Tori is a family law attorney who founded a practice centered on child advocacy. Tori advocates for the collaborative law to provide resolution in the best interest of children. She serves as a guardian ad litem to represent children in complex legal issues, and she provides services for adoption. When she's not working, Tori enjoys spending time with her family, traveling, and supporting charities for pets. Our format tonight for this evening, each candidate will have 1 minute for opening statements. They will field the questions and the candidates will be given 1 minute to respond. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a closing statement. Candidates, there is one timekeeper seated at the table in front of you. There will be a 30-second yellow card warning, and a bell will ring at the end of your time. Please stop when you hear the bell, or I will stop you. The Cobb County Republican Women's Club contacted all Republican candidates for Superior Court Judge, Georgia House District 34 and 44, and Cobb County Solicitor General. If your candidate is not here this evening, it is because they were unable to attend. Our first panel is the candidates for Superior Judge. Our candidates are alphabetically Ann Harris, Juanita Stedman, and Nathan Wade. Ms. Harris will begin with your 1 minute opening.
Thank you to CCRWC for putting on this forum tonight. It's an honor to be here. I am Senior Assistant District Attorney Ann Harris, and I'm a candidate for Superior Court Judge. Superior Court judges handle domestic and some civil matters, and they handle every felony offense that occurs in Cobb County. They are serious crimes that affect not just one person or one business, but they affect our entire community. For 19 years, I have devoted my legal career to prosecuting in Superior Court, where my sworn duty has been to seek justice, to hold offenders accountable, to protect our community, and to make the hard decisions. For this reason, the Fraternal Order of Police has chosen to endorse me as your next Superior Court judge. I have worked to deal fairly with everyone. I strive to know the law and follow the law every time in every case, and my record bears that out. I have the experience that matters and the values you trust to be your next Superior Court judge. I am Ann Harris, and I respectfully ask for your vote May 20th. Thank you.
Ms. Stedman.
Good evening. I'm Judge Juanita Stedman. On September the 11th of 2000, I was appointed to be your juvenile court judge, and it's been a privilege and an honor to serve this county as that for the last 13 years. That means that the Superior Court judges sitting on the bench have had the confidence to reappoint me 3 different times. In that capacity, I have been a sitting assisting Superior Court judge 1 week of every month. As a sitting assistant court Superior Court judge, I have heard every type of case there is to hear. I've not had the role of an advocate as a judge. I've had the role of making the tough decisions that judges have to do. And I'm glad to be here and glad to be with CCRW, who's been a huge supporter of the drug courts that I've also implemented. Thank you, and I look forward to answering the questions.
Thank you, Ms. Stedman. Mr. Wade, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Donna. I am Nathan Wade, and I am also a candidate for Superior Court judge here in Cobb County. I've spent my career as a trial attorney and advocate for the people and for our youth. I have started my career, first of all, as a prosecutor here in Cobb County. I left prosecution and started a law firm where I practiced in the area of criminal defense, transitioned into family and domestic. We've handled some personal injury as well as business disputes. I have the business experience. I have the experience that every single area that a Superior Court judge will be called upon to render a decision. I've practiced law in those areas. I've touched those areas. I own a business. I understand business. This county is a business. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will begin the questioning. You will have 1 minute for your response. You will be notified, as I mentioned earlier, of your 30 seconds left. When the bell rings, please remember to stop. And our first question is from Felicity Diamond. Felicity, address your question first to Juanita Stedman, please.
Thank you. I would like to know, as with the voters of Cobb County, why you are seeking election as Cobb Superior Court Judge.
Seeking election as Cobb Superior Court judge because I'm ready for the new challenge. As a Superior Court sitting judge, assisting judge, I've reached some of that challenge, but I see things that can be done in Superior Court, such as adding more treatment courts, such as looking at how we do run it as a business when we're collecting DATE funds, which is drug treatment, alcohol, and education funds that we're missing collecting here in this county. And I look forward to that as an opportunity to raise those funds, do the things we need, and to be the best Superior Court judge I can be. Thank you.
Mr. Wade, the same question to you.
Thank you. I am a bit old-fashioned in my thinking. I still believe that being a lawyer is something to aspire to. In saying that, I think that the judicial system is the pinnacle of that. I have been honored and blessed to serve as a municipal court judge in the city of Marietta as well as in Roswell, respectively. So I do have judicial experience as well. And I think that giving back something back to my community in the form of being a Superior Court judge is just another step. So it's a logical progression. Certainly our community is a diverse community, and I think that our bench should reflect that as well.
Thank you. Ann, same question to you.
I believe I have the experience that we need in Superior Court. When you pick up the newspaper or you turn on the television and you see what's happening in our Superior Court, 9 times out of 10, what you're hearing about is a judge, a prosecutor, a jury who has held offenders accountable. That's what I've been doing for 19 years. That's what I would like to continue to do to serve the public. Hold the cold-blooded killers accountable. There are efficiencies that I have practiced for 19 years as a prosecutor that could be brought into the courtroom, efficiencies in dealing with lawyers early on in their cases. That is true of both civil and criminal cases. I have had the responsibility and the experience of managing an entire caseload, which is so important for a judge to do in Superior Court. I would like to continue to do good for the people of this county from the bench. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go on to our second question. Commissioner Ott will first address your question to Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you all for stepping up and running for office to represent the people of Cobb County. My question is, as constitutional officers, the Superior Court does not come under the direct supervision of the Board of Commissioners. The court is responsible for its own administration. What do you see as the court's role in helping the Board of Commissioners manage the county and keep costs and taxes low?
Thank you, Commissioner Ott, for the question. You started your question out with something very important to me, and that is, you said constitutional officer. The Constitution is precisely what we should govern, how we should govern ourselves. That's the document that controls us. Constitutionally, judges are not allowed to legislate from the bench. Judges shouldn't get involved in county politics. I don't see a place for judges to make those decisions, those tough decisions that commissioners have to make every day. I see a judge reading, interpreting the law, and following the law. So whatever the state of the law is what I will do.
Ann Harris, same question.
I think in trying to manage the costs in Superior Court, there are efficiencies that any judge can do. Now, you never want to sacrifice justice for efficiency, but there are some basic things like take the bench early, take the bench on time, give parties a fair and full hearing, but stay on the bench long enough to do that. Get your rulings out in a timely manner and get them right. There is nothing worse than having to redo a jury trial or a hearing. It takes a toll on the parties, and it takes a toll economically as well. On the civil side, judges can stay on top of the discovery process, and they can encourage pro se parties to get assistance they need outside of court. And on the criminal side, engage in plea negotiations early, engage in discovery early, because efficiencies are the best way to keep the costs down, and those are things that can be done without sacrificing justice, which we can never do.
Ms. Stedman, the same question to you.
I think I hear that question a little bit differently, and that may be because I'm the only candidate who has worked a budget, and that is I've worked a budget both in a drug court, with my family dependency treatment court, also with my juvenile drug court, and as a juvenile court, we've had to look at a budget, and we've had to cut that budget, and we've had to work under the constraints that are placed because of being part of the county. As somebody who has worked those budgets, I have done several things. I have made sure that this county gets as much money as possible through federal grants, as much money as possible through state grants, as much money as possible from anything else that can help us run those courts. I think as far as the pro se, the Superior Court is already doing a great job. They have a pro se clinic, and that pro se clinic is helping us be able to try those cases in a timely manner. So I do believe that I have met that duty as a judge in the Juvenile Court of Cobb County.
Our third question tonight will come from Tori White. Tori, please address your first question to Ann Harris, please.
Thank you, Donna, and good evening to the candidates. Do you believe that all citizens have adequate access to legal help and the legal system? If not, what can be done to provide wider and better access?
I believe in Cobb County in Superior Court, certainly our criminal defendants do have very good access to legal representation. We have an excellent system of lawyers who handle retained cases that also handle what are called appointed cases, where they represent folks who cannot afford a lawyer of their own. That's a system that's been in place for years, and in fact it has worked so well that the state legislature allowed us to run our own system and opt out of the public defender system. I think our citizens are served well by that, as well as our defendants. I think on the civil side, we could do more to we could do more to help the folks who cannot afford the civil representation, but I do think that there are things that are done already in place to try to get them the assistance they need without necessarily having a judge give advice, because a judge, of course, cannot do that. But there are some clinics that would help them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Juanita, the same question to you.
I agree with Ann that we, on the criminal side, have a public defender's office that is notwithstanding any in the state of Georgia. We also have the Cobb Justice Foundation that is made up from the Cobb Bar Association, which is for folks on the civil side to go in and have volunteer lawyers who work with them. I was one of the founding members of that Cobb Justice Foundation. It's a very active foundation. We also have a pro se clinic, and that pro se clinic helps folks who need to have their issues addressed in court to be able to come in, have the forms, and do that. Do I think that there's an element, and I quite honestly think that maybe it's the working poor that has a harder time finding lawyers to represent them in civil cases and getting those issues resolved? I do. Do I think that we're in a county that is progressive and is looking at how to do that? I absolutely do, and I know that I'm very proud to live in Cobb County.
Mr. Wade.
Thank you. At the outset of the program, we said the Pledge of Allegiance, and embedded within that pledge, we said justice for all. That's a very important phrase, justice for all. While I do believe that the county has resources available to all of our citizens, I do not believe that all citizens have access to those resources. I believe that we could do a better job at putting the information out so that people have access to the resources that they need in order to get their cases moved, whether it's criminal, whether it's civil. An unfortunate reality of it is, because I'm the only business owner here, I'm the only person who owns a law firm here, I get people walking into my office daily who have no idea of a public defender system. They have no idea of a Cobb County legal aid. They have no idea of a drug court that might exist. And I just think that we need to do a better job getting those resources out to the public and making sure that the people who need the help actually get the help.
Thank you so much. Now for our fourth question, we'll go back to Felicity Diamond. And Felicity, please address your fourth question to Juanita Stedman, please.
Thank you. The Superior Court of Cobb County is one of the most innovative courts in the nation, having begun the first mandated mediation program and seminar for divorcing parents in the state. If elected, what, if any, changes or new programs would you like to see made in the operation of the court or in the disposition of cases?
Well, thank you for that question. I am in Athens, Georgia. I've been in Athens, Georgia all day today with the funding committee for drug courts for the state. I'm going back tonight, and I'll be there again all day tomorrow in order for us to divide up the $15 million that our governor has put in place for justice reform through treatment courts. I today was speaking to Stan Cooper, who's with the state probation, and one of the programs that I think that we can put in place is a program for reentry. This is the third phase of the governor's justice reform, and I believe that that's an innovative program that we can put in place. I also think that we can keep going further in our mediation. I know that in juvenile court we have a very progressive mediation program, and we can keep going forward with that as an innovative program, and always be looking at what we can do that makes us stay the most innovative court in the nation. Thank you.
Nathan, the same question to you.
Thank you. As a practicing domestic attorney, as one of the areas that I currently practice law in, I appreciate the question. I found that there have been challenges within my practice with people, the educational portion of it. For instance, I think that the portion of grandparents' rights, that's something that needs to be emphasized and stressed. We need to get information out to those people, and the courts just don't do a very good job of that. Secondly, the parenting seminar that every divorcing parent has to take. I think that there needs to be a little overhaul within that seminar, because that's the feedback that I get from my clients. These are real people having real cases and real issues. So those are my answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann?
One of the things I think that we need to take a look at is, and in fact it is being considered now, but I would urge the county to move forward with getting the mental health court into state court, because there are so many people with mental health problems who are caught up not in felony charges, but they are caught up in things like disorderly conduct, things like criminal trespass, and they end up stuck in the system for months when what they really need is some mental health treatment. I'm very glad that we are about to get the Veterans Court going, because veterans are coming back with a unique set of problems that often ripples into the criminal justice system, and I think we need to address that. And finally, I would like to see us at least take a look at some type of business court to take some of the more complex business matters where it's hard to get time in court and deal with those on a different track. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to our fifth question, and that will come from Commissioner Ott. And if you would please, Bob, address that fifth question to Nathan Wade.
All right, thank you, Donna. This election is the first in a long time for an open Superior Court seat. In times past, the governor has appointed the replacement because in most cases it was midterm. Do you feel it is better to fill open seats with an election or by appointment?
Thank you, Bob, for that question. It almost seems like a trick question, an unfair one. This is my third attempt to be elected to the Superior Court bench here in Cobb County. Now, let me say this. Between each attempt, there have been vacancies, and I have interviewed with the governor's office for each of those vacancies. For whatever reasons, I've never been chosen. I think that politicizes the process a little too much. I think that the electoral process is the best process. I think that the people of Cobb County should be allowed to choose who would serve them in this capacity. I think that it's much better to be elected to a seat or to have the opportunity to be elected to a seat than being appointed by a governor.
Ms. Harris, same question to you.
Well, first, let me be clear. I mean, our legislature has decided, and they decided years ago, that election was the way to go. Certainly, I don't quibble with any appointments that have been made, and yet these are elected positions. And so, obviously, that is the law. I think having elected positions, when you're elected, there is some accountability there, and we are all very aware of the power of being an incumbent when you run for office. So I certainly am in favor of election as opposed to appointment, because that's what the legislature has decided is the manner in which we should fill our seats.
Thank you so much. Juanita Stedman, same question.
Well, I was one of the top three for the governor when he made the last appointment, and I assure you I wouldn't have turned him down had he appointed me. So I do want you to know that. We've all been part of that appointment process, because the legislature also allows the governor to appoint, and he and previous governors have appointed great judges. We have them sitting on the Superior Court bench and the state court bench. But I will tell you this, I have thoroughly enjoyed this election process. I have enjoyed being at Big Shanty. I've enjoyed being at the Tea Party and meeting the voters of Cobb County and how educated they want to be and how involved they want to be in this process. And I'm proud to be part of the election process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for our sixth and final question. Tori White, will you please address that question to Ann Harris first?
Thank you. Many in our audience may realize that judicial candidates are limited in speaking particularly about issues. But I'm interested, if while serving on the bench, do you believe you have a role in bringing important legal or judicial issues before the public, or to piggyback off Commissioner Opp's question, the legislature, and why or why not?
Well, I think as a Superior Court judge, at the trial level, a Superior Court judge's responsibility is to know the law and apply the law. We are not a court of lawmaking at the trial court level. It is not up to us to decide if we're going to follow the law in a given case, and it's not up to us to make law from the bench or to stretch it beyond what was understood or what was intended by the legislature. It is our responsibility to be colorblind and, gender blind and blind to money and power and things like that. But I think when it comes to raising issues, I think a judge needs to be careful with understanding the separation of powers. And so while a judge's responsibility to hold people accountable is something they should always adhere to, and the law is something they should always adhere to, I think judges need to be very careful in advocating for a position.
Thank you very much. Same question to you, Ms. Stedman.
Each class of courts has a council of courts. There's a council of Superior Court judges, and they will go as a council, as a body, with the folks who aren't the judges in that body, and they will go and try to change the law and try to affect the legislature. We're not those people. That is absolutely not our role. But do I believe that judges have a role in educating the public and letting the public know what judges do? And letting the public know what's available in being part of the community? I do. And I believe that you ride that thin line when you do it, but being out there in the community and being a proponent for justice in the community is an important role that we play as judges.
And Nathan, the same question to you.
No.
Well, that's easy. Thank you, Nathan. Now we've come to the end of our questions, and this is the time when the candidates get to give their 2-minute closing. Prior to the panelists being seated up here on the dais, they drew numbers, and they came out in this order. Juanita Stedman will go first, Nathan Wade will go second, and Ann Harris will close at being third. If you will just give your 2-minute closing statement at this time, Mrs. Stedman.
Thank you. It's really wonderful to be in a room with folks who are interested enough to spend their Thursday evening to be here. And I know there's a lot of folks watching this on television or who will TiVo it and watch it on television. But it is great to be part of the process and to know that we live in a community where people are concerned about the process and concerned about who their Superior Court judges will be. I did own a business before I became a Superior Court judge. I had a law firm. I practiced in a law firm that someone else owned, and then I had my own law firm. And in that capacity, I represented folks in every area that you can have in the Superior Court. I then, as I told you before, had the privilege and honor of being appointed to be a juvenile court judge and an assisting Superior Court judge. And every case that has come before those judges, I have heard, I have decided as a judge. When this job starts on January the 1st of 2015, I will hit the ground running. There's not a case that can come in front of me that I've not heard. I've been recognized for doing those things in this community. I've been recognized as the Marietta Citizen of the Year, recognized as one of the YWCA Tribute Women. I've been recognized as one of the outstanding women in Cobb County by the Junior League. I've been asked by the governor of the state of Georgia, Governor Deal, to serve on the Commission for Family Violence. I've been asked by the governor of Georgia, Governor Deal, to serve on the funding committee that I have served on and am serving on today and tomorrow, as I told you. So I've been recognized for being someone who will do the things that are right, someone who will be a good Superior Court judge, and someone who will remember what Nathan, I think, so greatly said, that as a lawyer, we are servants. And I believe that I've done that and been a servant of this county and a servant of my court. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nathan Wade, your closing statement, please.
Cobb is very fortunate in that it has three deserving candidates here before you asking for your vote. But I'd like to spend a little time telling you why I am the most qualified candidate for this job. The county is a business, as I alluded to earlier. In any business, you should examine your hiring process. Does the candidate add value to your organization? And does the candidate bring diversity to your organization? And what is the candidate's experience? I think that I fit the mold for all three criteria. I have experience in every area that a Superior Court judge will be called upon to render a decision. I have practiced law in the courtrooms all across the state in these areas. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a defense lawyer. I've owned a business and practiced law in family and domestic areas. I understand business litigation issues. I understand injury. I understand how to run a calendar. I've done it in more places than just one, not just Cobb, but across the state of Georgia. I think that our county is one that is growing and it's diverse in its ideas. I would ask that the voters not consider this business as usual. Please take your time, do your homework, research the candidates, look at our backgrounds, look at what we've done, look at some of the decisions that we've made, look at how we treat one another. I think that Cobb County, in the sense, as we speak about this Superior Court judgeship, I think that Cobb County is in a crucial moment right now, a very pivotal moment. I would ask for your vote on April 28th, which is early voting, and May 20th, which is the actual election day. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann Harris, your closing statement, please.
I'm Senior Assistant District Attorney Ann Harris, and I want to be your next Superior Court judge. And I think I am the most qualified to be your next Superior Court judge. My husband and I have been married for 29 years. We've lived in Smyrna for over 2 decades. Prior to going to law school at Vanderbilt, I spent 7 years in the business world. I did information systems consulting and internal auditing work. And when I finished law school, I chose public service instead of returning to the private sector not because I wanted to do well, but because I wanted to do good. As a senior assistant district attorney, I have prosecuted murderers, rapists, armed robbers, drug traffickers, those who abuse our elderly, and those who abuse our children. I helped draft the first human trafficking legislation that was passed by our state legislature in 2006, and I successfully prosecuted the first case in the state of Georgia of felony elder abuse. But in my career, I have also been wise enough to recognize that there are offenders who deserve compassion in our system of justice, so I have recommended alternatives to prison and a second chance to those who are deserving. As a prosecutor, I have demonstrated respect for the rule of law. I'm very proud of the fact that in 19 years of trying cases in Superior Court, I have not had a jury trial reversed. Because of my experience, I have the support not only of the Fraternal Order of Police, but of our current District Attorney, Vic Reynolds, and our prior DA, Pat Head. You should know that some 40% of the civil and the domestic cases that are filed in Superior Court are routinely handled and assigned to senior judges, not to the elected Superior Court judges. The same is not true of criminal cases, and that is what I have been doing for the last 19 years in Superior Court. Regardless of the kind of case, as your Superior Court judge, I promise I will work to deliver justice, to hold people accountable, to make the hard decisions without flinching or failure, to be devoted to the rule of law. I ask for your vote May 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to say I think Cobb County is very lucky to have these 3 talented people running for Superior Court judge. We are lucky as a citizenry to have the kind of talent that's sitting up here on this dais. And I want to thank you very much, and let's give them a round of applause. We will now take a short break, and we will return with the candidates for Georgia House District 34 and 44. See you in a little bit. Welcome back to the Cobb County Republican Women's Club Candidates Forum. This evening, and our next candidates are for the Georgia House Districts 34 and 44. Our candidates for the Georgia House 34 are Charles Gregory, Burt Reeves, and our candidates for the Georgia House District 44 are Stephen Fellows and Don Parsons. Charles Gregory, Stephen Fellows, and Don Parsons were not able to be with us this evening due to conflicts, and a 1-minute statement will be read by me for each one of them. I'm going to start with a candidate for House District 44, Stephen Fellows. My name is Stephen Fellows. I've been campaigning hard over these last couple of months, sharing my vision of good government. Term limits, eliminating the state income tax, and implementing a strong school choice system for education is paramount. While we should always appreciate the service of our legislators, there comes a time to inject new life into our legislature. It is term limits are good enough for our governor, they're good enough for our state house. My ideas are new and my way of working is innovative. I hope to have your support. The second letter I'll read this evening is from Don Parsons. And he writes, I want to thank the Cobb County Republican women for organizing and sponsoring this event tonight. It is very important that the public have opportunity to hear from candidates for office at all levels of public service. All of us seeking office, either for the first time or for re-election, must remember that the offices we seek belong to the people. Providing the voters with the best and most honest information about what we have done for them in the past, what we are doing for them now, and what we promise to do for them in the future is an obligation that we have as candidates for election or re-election. I regret that I'm unable to be with you this evening at this important event, but a scheduling conflict requires my presence at another forum scheduled for the same date and time. I am always very happy to provide information about my service and my campaign. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote. Don Parsons. The last statement I will read is from Charles Gregory. Thank you for your invitation to tonight's forum. Unfortunately, with the early primary date of May 20th this year, my time is 100% committed to talking directly with voters in House District 34. As lifelong resident of Cobb County, my wife and I have been married for over 11 years, and together we have 3 young children, ages 10, 9, and 3. After attending the University of Georgia, I established a small business in the computer software industry and have lived in Kennesaw ever since. For the past 2 years as representative, I have fought to restrict government to its only proper role, the protection of the individual's life, liberty, and property. I will not compromise my convictions or shared conservative principles. I do not serve the desire of special interest group. I will not yield to pressure from party leadership if it means ignoring our limited government conservative values. I do not trade votes or concede what is right for the sake of personal or political expediency. In fact, every measure on this which I have voted must pass an exhaustive litmus test. Is it a tax increase? Does it increase the size or scope of government? Does it violate natural law or infringe on God-given natural rights? Is it constitutional? And many others. If elected, I will look forward to continuing my efforts to defund and stop Obamacare in Georgia, restore our Second Amendment rights, eliminate the state income and property tax, expand school choice, and restore local and parental control of education. Thank you for your time. I look forward to continuing to discuss at your doorstep. Sincerely, Charles Gregory. Now, for the gentleman that was kind enough to join us this evening, Burt will go ahead and have your statement.
Thank you so much, and good evening. My name is Burt Reeves. I'm running for the State House of Representatives for District 34, which is made up of most of Kennesaw and Northwest Marietta. I was born and raised here in Cobb County, growing up in Kennesaw. I graduated from North Cobb High School in 1995. I've been invested in this community my entire life. My first job when I was 16 years old was at the Chick-fil-A at Town Center Mall. I'm now 37 years old and I'm an attorney. I've worked for many years as an assistant district attorney in Cobb County where I prosecuted felonies. I've spent the last 3.5 years with a small firm here in Marietta where I manage my own general legal practice, focusing on elder and probate law and offering a wide variety of other legal services to many small businesses in this area. I love this community, and I have dedicated myself to it. I formerly worked on staff with the youth ministry at North Star Church in Kennesaw. I spent years working with and then chairing a program called Cobb Youth Leadership, where I mentored high school juniors all across the county. I've served on the board of directors for many nonprofits, including Reconnecting Families and the Strand Theater. I decided a little more than a year ago that I was going to run for House District 34. It's an amazing district. In addition to the nearly 60,000 people in it, it holds some of the most important entities in all of Cobb County: Kennesaw State University, McCollum Airport, Barrett Parkway, Wellstar Kennestone, and Kennesaw Mountain, to name a few. It's an incredible district, and it needs real leadership. I've been working very hard on the campaign trail. I've been going door to door, trying to meet as many folks as I possibly can. In my conversations with the people, I've learned that our community wants a leader who is tuned into their needs, and I intend to represent those needs and not an agenda. I'm a conservative Republican. I started voting Republican when I was 18 years old, and I've voted that way ever since. When I'm elected, I plan to pursue limited government, lower taxes, a strong economic environment to attract businesses, strong public safety, and relentlessly work to improve education for our children. I stand by my background and my commitment to Cobb County. It's time that we have an effective leader in District 34, and I am that person. I ask for your vote on May 20th. You can learn more information about me at my website, burtreeves.com, and you can always reach me on my cell phone, 678-464-4995. Thanks, and have a great night.
Burt, thank you very much for being with us tonight, and let's give this nice Republican young man a hand. Our next candidates are for Cobb County Solicitor General. Our format will be the same. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening statement. They will then field questions and will have 1 minute to respond. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a closing statement. Candidates, there's a timekeeper at the front, and she has her infamous yellow card that will give you a 30-second warning. And at the end, you'll hear a bell, and we will stop, or I will stop for you. The audience, please refrain from applauding until the end of the segment of the forum due to time restraints. Our candidates for Cobb County Solicitor General are Solicitor General Barry Morgan, Cyndi Yeager, and they are both with us tonight. Mr. Morgan, we will begin with your 1 minute opening statement.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, members of the Cobb County Republican Women and panelists. I appreciate the opportunity. Since 1998, I have served as your Solicitor General in one of the largest Solicitor General's office in the state of Georgia. We have over 100,000 cases per year. Our assistant solicitors handle an average of 3,000 cases per year. They are working hard for you each and every day. Since I was first elected, the office has successfully handled 1.8 million cases with an eye towards seeking justice. One of the responsibilities of the Solicitor General's office is to oversee the $5 million budget, and since fiscal year 2009, when the fiscal crisis hit, I have cut 33% from that budget, or a total of $175,000. I have been supported by the law enforcement community, the sheriff's community, and the prosecution community in this county in my re-election bid, having the endorsement of the Cobb FOP, the Sheriff Neil Warren, former Sheriff Bill Hudson, Cobb County Police Chief George Hatfield, and the former district attorneys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. Ms. Yeager.
My name is Cyndi Yeager, and I am a candidate for Cobb Solicitor General. I began my legal career right here in Cobb County as an assistant solicitor for the Cobb County Solicitor's Office. I was instrumental in creating the domestic violence court program under the tutelage of then Chief Magistrate T.O. Sturdivant. I then specialized my prosecution in the area of DUI and vehicular homicide litigation. I assisted in establishing and implementing the Prosecuting Attorneys Council statewide DUI, vehicular homicide, and DUI prosecution course. I next went to work in the Cobb County District Attorney's Office. While working in the Cobb County District Attorney's Office, I was assigned to Judge Bodiford while he was off trying the tow cars case. After my successful prosecution of the cases in Judge Botiford's courtroom, I was chosen to be the lead prosecutor in charge of crimes against children, where I successfully litigated every case I brought before a jury. Since then, I have been in private practice, having established my own successful law firm right here in Cobb County. In addition, I've published a book, the Georgia DUI Case Reference, which is taught to seminars for prosecution, law enforcement officers, and attorneys across the state.
Thank you so much. We'll now begin the questioning, and please remember your response will be 1 minute. You'll be given the 30-second warning with the yellow card, and then the bell will ring, and I'll ask you to stop speaking at that time if you are still speaking. We will start with our first question from Felicity Diamond. Please direct your question to Ms. Yeager, please.
Thank you, Donna. What do you see as the foremost challenge to the Cobb County Solicitor's Office?
There are many challenges right now to the Cobb County Solicitor's Office. One of the biggest challenges, I believe, deal with handling cases in law enforcement. After looking over the records, we have about 2,500 DUI cases per year. At present, there's about a 30 to 40% reduction or dismissal rate in those cases. And in addition, we have a morale problem in our police department. Part of the morale problem is because they need to feel the support of law enforcement. They need to feel that the prosecutors are supporting the cases that they make out there on the street each night and every day. We need to get back in the courtroom and start prosecuting the cases. Secondly, we need to start looking at bringing the mental health court to state court. Solicitor's office is the prosecution office that handles those cases in which we have criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, some of the things that the candidate for judge, Ms. Harris, talked about. We need to have a mental health court to start directing those cases into treatment programs and not just using the Cobb County Jail as a holding time until they're back on the street. Thirdly, we need to really get education back in the prisons. We have 17-year-olds as adults who need to be educated.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan, the answer to that question, please.
Thank you. One of the most challenging things is prosecuting with a sense of justice, which we do. That's our mission statement in the Solicitor's Office on the limited budget that we have. We have worked very hard to find alternative sources of funding so that we can make sure that our prosecutors have the tools that they need to make sure that justice is done in each and every case. That has been our mantra. That has been our mission ever since we began. The other thing is making sure that we're up on the latest in education and prosecution. I have had the opportunity and the privilege of serving as the chair of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council Training Committee. So I provided that type of training across the years to prosecutors all across this state. And finally, we need to make sure, as Ms. Yeager said, and I've been working on the mental health court issue for a number of years, trying to convince our judges that that is something that we need. And I agree that we do need to make sure that the jails are not a holding cell for folks with mental illness. And I've been trying to lobby our judges for a number of years to make sure that happens.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to our second question, and that will be asked by Commissioner Bob Ott. And please address your question to Barry Morgan, please.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you both for stepping up and running for office. Recently, an elder abuse task force was created here in Cobb County. Should the Solicitor General be a part of this task force, and what do you think the Solicitor General can do to help combat elder abuse?
Thank you for the question. I am a part of the Elder Abuse Task Force. I serve as the vice chair of that task force, and I've been involved in educational programs out in the community. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago we were at St. Anne's Church to make sure that the resources are there for the elder abuse folks. We need to make sure again that our assistant solicitors are attuned to the intricacies and the problems of elder abuse, to make sure that they understand the financial issues, the intimidation issues that sometimes deal in an elder abuse case. We have, I firmly believe that we should be a part of that, and we are.
Thank you very much. Same question to you, Cyndi.
Thank you, Mr. Ott. Most of the code sections that deal with elder abuse are going to be felony. If you're 65 or older and you have a battery, it's going to be a felony and prosecuted in the district attorney's office. A lot of the financial crimes are also going to be handled there. But there are a lot of things that the Solicitor General's office can do to assist and help with those crimes. Most of these elder abuse occur in a family setting. We already have a domestic violence court program set up. We need to revisit that domestic violence and look at the cases that are dealing with elderly individuals and their family members and really start addressing those and making sure that when the elderly person is back in that home, that they are going to be protected. There's things that we can do in conjunction with law enforcement to create that protection. Obviously, we need to protect our most valued citizens, which are older citizens. And I believe that as Solicitor General, if I work together with the District Attorney's Office, with the community resources and law enforcement, we can do that in an effective manner.
Thank you very much. The third question will be from Tori White. And Tori, if you'd address your question, please, to Cyndi Yeager first.
Thank you, Donna, and good evening to the candidates. Cobb County is well known for its rigorous prosecution of DUIs. Despite the amount of work and court appearances that's required to prosecute those cases. So some have suggested that the new Braves Stadium in Cobb County will increase the number of DUIs and perhaps some misdemeanor theft crimes. If that turns out to be true, what resources and strategy will Cobb County, specifically the Solicitor General's office, need to maintain its high standards?
That's a great question. I believe Cobb County has the resources to effectively prosecute the cases. The problem is that we need the prosecutors back in the courtroom trying cases. I alluded in my opening statement that we have about 2,500 DUI cases prosecuted per year with about a 30 to 40% reduction rate. That's too much. We need to better train our prosecutors to not just go to the office, but go into the courtroom. As we do that, we also need to train the law enforcement officers. They're the ones that are on the ground making the DUI arrests. We need to make sure that they have the ability to testify competently, they have the ability to make the cases competently when they bring them to us. I think if we are efficient and effective in the courtroom prosecution and work closely with our law enforcement officers, we don't need any more resources. We just need to do a better job at what we're doing right now.
Mr. Morgan.
Thank you for the question. We currently have one of the best offices, I believe, in the state of Georgia. We have individuals from other prosecution offices in the state of Georgia once an opening occurs who are clamoring to get to our office. And I believe it speaks of the reputation that we have. I disagree with my opponent that we aren't effective at the prosecution of DUIs. We are. And I think that we take whatever comes with the Braves Stadium. That is what we do, and we take the resources that we have. We communicate now with the police department. We have training programs constantly with the police department. We had one last week with the DUI task force and brand new officers on testifying in DUI cases. So we are there, we are doing it, and we will continue to do the great job in the courtroom as my assistant solicitors are doing.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Now on to our fourth question. That will be from Felicity Diamond. And Felicity, if you'll address your fourth question to Barry Morgan first, please.
Thank you. What changes, if any, would you like to see made to the Cobb County Solicitor's Office, and how would you go about implementing these proposed changes?
I think I would like, if we had a blank check, which we don't, I would like to again have the mental health court that we talked about. I would like to have the Veterans Court brought into the state court as well. I would also like to see more training than we have now. Although the training that we have is good, I would like to see more training because I don't believe that you can have enough training. I was a teacher in my prior life, and I believe that mentoring and making people better equipped to handle the cases that they have is always a goal that we need to have. And I would think that if we had that blank check, that those were the things I would like to do.
Ms. Yeager, the same question.
I don't think we need more money. I think we need to be effective with the money that we have. One of the first things that I would do is focus on youthful and first-time offenders. I think we need to have more additional alternatives to youthful and first-time offenders. We need to focus more on rehabilitation. We need to focus more on treatment. We need to focus more on education. And the next thing we need to do is we need to get education back to the jail. A 17-year-old gets arrested while they're in high school. If they stay in jail for three weeks, what are the chances that they're going to go back to high school? We need to partner with the president of Chattahoochee Tech and Sheriff Neil Warren and put education back in the jail so that we can keep those minor offenses and those under 21 offenders from reoffending. We need to expand our domestic violence court. We need to focus on family restoration. And we need to have the mental health court. I mean, that is one of the top priorities. But we can partner with the resources that we have right now in the community. There are many free and low-cost counseling alternatives that are available that are underutilized.
Thank you so much. The fifth question is going to come from Bob Ott. And Bob, if you'll direct your question to Cyndi Yeager first, please.
Okay, my next question is very similar to one that I asked previous candidates because, like the Superior Court judges, Solicitor General is a constitutional officer in Georgia. And as such, not under the direct supervision of the Board of Commissioners, how can the Solicitor General work and help the Board of Commissioners control costs and keep taxes low, at the same time not sacrificing the duties of the office?
That's me first.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ott. Well, in my candidacy to become Solicitor General, I have done some research about where we can look at the budget and what things we can do. One of the things that we can do is there's about 250 trial weeks possible per year. We bring 100 jurors in every single week at a cost of $25 per juror. We only are trying about 25 to 40 cases per year. That's with 250 trial weeks. But we're paying jurors $25 a day, 100 jurors apiece, to come to court and just sit there and do nothing. We need to be, if we're not going to try cases, let's not have those judges come in. And if we're not going to try cases, let's not keep police officers on call. The commissioners have to have funds for on-call pay. If we're not going to be in the courtroom, let's have an effective system so that we cut the taxpayer burden and cut the inconvenience to taxpayers by not having to go to jury duty, by not having officers on call pay. Those are just two areas where we can start right now to making that office more efficient.
Thank you. Barry, the same question, please.
Thank you, Bob. I guess I could say I've been there and done that, and I have the T-shirt. I've worked since 1993 with the county manager, the Board of Commissioners, to make sure that the budget of the Cobb County Solicitor's Office is utilized effectively. And in those times when we've had recessions, I've cut the budget. Since fiscal year 2009, I've cut 33% from that budget, and I work very hard and diligently every day to monitor that budget and make sure that we're having the most effective use of the taxpayer money in the Solicitor General's office. I don't understand about prosecutors not going to court, because there's several of them here, and you can ask them yourself. They're in court every day, and they're there doing the business, seeking justice. We could take our recommendations and we could make them extremely high, and we could have 300 jury trials a year, but that wouldn't be seeking justice. We need to make sure that we're focused on that and focused on making sure that the tax dollars that we have are used effectively.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Now we'll move on to the sixth question, and that will come from Tori White. And please address your sixth question to Barry Morgan, please. Thank you.
To the extent permissible under Georgia law, what is the appropriate influence a Solicitor General should have on policymaking?
Thank you. I have been involved with the Prosecuting Attorney's Council for my entire career as Solicitor General and as the Chief Assistant Solicitor General, and as a part of that, I have been involved with the Legislative Action Committee of the Solicitor General's Association and the Prosecuting Attorneys Association, and in that respect, we lobby every year for effective changes in the laws. When the DUI defense attorneys attacked the implied consent notice, I, along with Ralph Bowden, who was then Solicitor General of DeKalb County, sat in a room, wrote the language, gave it to Earl Earhart, and that language became the law, and that has been the law of implied consent since that time, that has not been attacked by DUI defense attorneys. I am very active and proactive in making sure that laws that are going to assist the citizens in the prosecution of criminal cases are effective, and I've done that my entire career.
Thank you very much. Cyndi.
The Solicitor General can make a very important part in helping create and modify current legislation that we have today. One of the things that we need to do is look at some of the DUI laws for youthful offenders. If you get a first-time cocaine charge, you can have your case dismissed. If you get a .02 DUI, you're going to have a DUI on your criminal and driving history for the rest of your life. If you're going to take an active part as Solicitor General, let's look at these youthful offenders. Let's look at the future pilots, doctors, and lawyers, and let's create statutes that are going to allow them not to have a criminal history to carry around with and burden them for the rest of their life. Yes, I believe the Solicitor General should team with legislatures to create laws that are going to be beneficial to the community, beneficial to the citizens, beneficial to the victims, and most importantly, make sure that we are effectively prosecuting cases.
Thank you, Ms. Yeager. Now, I want to tell the audience and our panelists that my producer-director, Rose Wing, has informed me that we have time for one more question, and I know that thrills both of you, doesn't it? So I think I'll throw it to the panel. Which one of you guys would like to give us the seventh question?
I'd love to.
Go ahead, Tori. Are you it?
It looks like I'm it.
Okay, Tori White. And Tori, if you could please direct your question to Cyndi Yeager first.
And both candidates have spoken toward the issue, and I'd love to hear more, because sometimes the prosecution, the cases that you're prosecuting, touch on very sensitive issues. Some limited sex crimes, unfortunately. DUIs can be sensitive as well. What resources, what tools, what aids that you can include in your administration to aid the victims of crimes? And what's the appropriate balance going forward?
Well, I believe the Solicitor General's office does have an effective victim witness department in place right now. And they get some of those resources from the fines that are generated through the court system themselves. I think the best thing that you do, one, we need a Spanish-speaking victim witness person in the office, because there are so many Hispanic cases that are going through the courthouse right now, and Hispanic women are victims of domestic violence. We need to make sure we're addressing their needs, and we need to make sure that we can provide resources for counseling for them who are Spanish-speaking. So that's number one. Secondly, I think we need to have them better trained. I think we need to have them look at developing a resource center in the solicitor's office. So if you have a problem, if you need drug treatment, if you need domestic violence help, if you need alcohol treatment, if you need a GED, you can come to the office, and it will have a resource center which will provide you opportunities within the community that already exist, the same resources that I use in my private practice right now.
And Mr. Morgan, if you could answer the same question.
Thank you. We currently have that. We currently have a list of care providers that we provide to all of our victims of domestic violence. We are sensitive to the victims of crime because while we prosecute and represent the citizens of the state of Georgia, we are always paramount in our mind to make sure that we seek justice for the victims of the crimes. We do have an excellent victim witness unit. They are trained, and we also have a Spanish-speaking individual who helps us with our Spanish-speaking victims of crimes. We need to make sure that we're sensitive to their needs. We need to make sure that we help them through the court process, and we do that in each and every case.
Thank you both. Thank you, panel. Now we're going to do our closing statements. You will have 2 minutes for closing. The same yellow card and the same bell will apply. And the candidates met before, and they drew numbers. And Cyndi Yeager will go first. Barry Morgan will go second. Cyndi, your closing statement for 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Donna. And thank you to the Cobb County Republican women for allowing us to attend this forum tonight. I believe it's time for a change in Cobb County. Everyone believes in term limits. And in this case, I believe Mr. Morgan has served 4 terms well for the county. But it's time that we have a change. It's time that we have a lead prosecutor who not only goes to the office, but goes to the courtroom. I have prosecuted and defended cases before all 12 judges in the Cobb County State Court. I go to court every day. I am a trial attorney and I am a litigator. I will train my prosecutors to have the reputation that I have. I have tried over 140 jury trials with over a 95% success rate. That's both a prosecutor and a defense attorney. I believe we need to have more training. I've written a book, the Georgia DUI Reference, which I have given to law enforcement agencies, solicitor's office across the state of Georgia. I teach law enforcement officers, I teach prosecutors, I teach attorneys how to try DUI cases. And then we need to focus on the youthful and first-time offenders. We talked about that, but we need to increase the alternatives to prosecution for those the youthful offenders in our community. We need to make sure they get an education. We need to make getting GEDs and getting a high school education as a part of their sentence, because if mom and dad isn't enough, let's have the judges and the prosecutors step in and make sure it will happen. We need to expand our domestic violence court program, make sure it's effective, make sure it's restoring the families in the community. We need to work harder to bring mental health courts to Cobb County. We need to see if we can get grants to help pay for those things. We need to go back and look at House Bill 1156, which created it, and find ways to implement it here in Cobb County. I've also been a leader in the community, having been past secretary, treasurer, president of the Cobb County Bar Association. I believe it's time to make a change. It's time to have more than one trial per prosecutor per year. I hope that you'll consider supporting me in my quest to be the next Cobb County Solicitor General.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Donna, and again, thank you to the Cobb County Republican Women for holding this forum tonight. I was so honored earlier this year when you recognized me with a 2014 Trumpet Award, and so I graciously thank you for that. You know, being the Solicitor General of an office like the Cobb County Solicitor General's office is not about trying cases. It simply isn't. It's much more complex than that. There are personnel issues, there are budgetary issues, there are daily issues that you have to deal with on a daily basis, and you have to have the experience, the temperament, and the wisdom to make sure that you are doing that effectively. I have that. It's difficult to talk about yourself, so I'll let others talk about me for you. I was just recently given the Prosecutor of the Year award by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I think that if we weren't effectively prosecuting DUIs, that wouldn't be the case. I have had the opportunity to serve as president of the Georgia Association of Solicitors General in 2002, and I will receive that honor again in July of this year in 2014. I have the confidence of my peers, I have the confidence of the community, and we have done a terrific job. I am proud of the people who work in our office. They go to court, they work for you, they seek justice. If you're going to hire a person, if you're going to hire the CEO of a $5 million organization that returns $13 million to this county, then I think you deserve a person who has the experience, the temperament, and the wisdom to effectively manage that office. I have done that for 22 years, and I hope you will allow me to continue that here in Cobb County. Vote for me on May the 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. I want to give a round of applause to these wonderful candidates, and we wish them the best of luck. It's my time to say goodnight, but I do want to thank very much. I want to thank Felicity Diamond, Bobot, Commissioner Bobot, and Tori White for sharing this dais with me tonight and helping us help the voters learn more. And thank you so much for your time. Again, I want to thank the candidates, and at this time, I'm going to bring back up here to the podium my wonderful friend and President-elect Roseanne Hall of the Cobb County Republican Women. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you, candidates, for your participation in tonight's forum. And I want to thank the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, TV23 staff, and Donna Rowe, our moderator. I want to thank Tanya Boga and Rose Wing, our campaign forum chairs, and with the following committee volunteers, please stand as I call your name. Martha Dearman, Billy Dendy, Sharon Herndon, Barbara Hickey, President of the CCRWC, Cheryl Lenny, Jonelle Woody, Marcia Stemme, and Helen Story. Let's give them a round of applause. We hope tonight's forum has been beneficial and informative. and that you will watch our next forum on Tuesday, April 29th at 7 p.m. here on Channel TV 23. It will be candidates for Cobb Commission Districts 1 and 3 and Public Service Commissioner. Also, I want to invite you to attend the CCRWC 50th birthday party, Friday, April 25th. It's held at the Atlanta Marietta Hilton Hilton Marietta Conference Center. It was the Marietta Conference Center. I can't get really used to the other one. Anyway, it's on April 25th, and if you'll go to www.ccrwc.org and register, we'd love to have you with us. Thank you for watching and attending the Cobb County Republican Women's Club Forum. Good night and good voting.